The whispers cut sharper than the autumn wind slicing through Willow Creek's maple-lined streets. "There she goes again, that freak in the dirt," sneered Tommy Hargrove from his pickup truck, his buddies howling like coyotes as Reese bent low over the flower beds at the edge of the old Blackwell estate. She didn't flinch, didn't turn, her hands, steady as the roots she tended, just kept pressing life into the soil. But inside, the barbs lodged deep, a familiar ache that had chased her from city lights to this forgotten corner of Vermont, where she thought the earth might finally forgive her for loving too quietly, too fiercely. Reese straightened, wiping sweat from her brow with the back of her glove, the sun dipping low enough to paint the estate's wrought iron gates in blood-orange hues. At 34, she carried the weight of secrets heavier than the heirloom roses she pruned, secrets about the woman who'd left her broken-hearted in Boston 3 years back, about the inheritance she'd buried under layers of humility. The townsfolk saw only the odd one out, the spinster gardener in flannel and boots, no husband in sight, no Sunday church smiles. They didn't know the deed to these 200 acres burned in her pocket like a guilty flame. Across the gravel drive, Elena Vargas pulled up in her rented Jeep, dust swirling like a bad omen. Fresh from the chaos of Manhattan's ad agencies, 36 and frayed at the edges from a divorce that tasted like ash, she was here to scout the estate for her firm's latest vanity project, turning forgotten relics into luxury retreats for the ultra-rich. The listing had promised untapped potential, but as she stepped out, heels sinking into the soft earth, Elena's breath caught. Not at the crumbling manor with its peeling white clapboard and sagging porch, though it had a tragic beauty, like a faded debutante. No, it was the woman in the garden who stopped her cold. Reese, oblivious, clipped a thorny stem, a single bead of blood welling on her thumb, and Elena felt an inexplicable pull, like gravity shifting under her feet. "Excuse me," Elena called, her voice sharper than intended, laced with the city's hurried edge. Reese glanced up, those hazel eyes, deep-set, guarded, meeting hers for the first time. Time stuttered. Elena, who prided herself on reading rooms like spreadsheets, saw nothing but raw honesty in that gaze, the kind that stripped away pretenses. "I'm Elena. Hear about the property." Reese nodded once, slow, like she was measuring the words before letting them loose. "Reese, I keep the grounds." She extended a hand, dirt-flecked and strong, and Elena took it, feeling the calluses rasp against her palm, a touch that lingered a beat too long, electric in the cooling air. The tour began awkwardly, Elena rattling off specs from her tablet while Reese walked beside her, silent as a shadow. The estate unfolded like a half-forgotten dream, wild meadows bleeding into dense woods, a pond glassy as a mirror under weeping willows, the manor itself a labyrinth of high-ceilinged rooms echoing with dust motes and ghosts. Elena jotted notes, potential for event spaces, eco-lodges, but her eyes kept drifting to Reese, who moved with an effortless grace, pointing out hidden nooks with a reverence that bordered on prayer. "You love this place," Elena said finally, as they paused on the back veranda overlooking the gardens. The sun had surrendered to twilight, stars pricking the indigo sky. Reese leaned against the railing, her shoulders easing for the first time. "It's home. Roots run deep here." Her voice was soft, threaded with a Vermont lilt that wrapped around Elena like fog. For a moment, the mockery of the town, the snickers from the diner, the sidelong glances at the feed store, faded. Reese let herself imagine what it might feel like to share this with someone who saw beyond the soil stains. But the drive back to her rented cabin that night, Elena's mind raced. The estate was perfect, a gold mine if they could wrangle the owner, some elusive heir, the realtor had said. Yet it was Reese who haunted her thoughts, that quiet strength, the way her laugh, rare, like a hidden spring, had bubbled up when Elena tripped over a vine. By morning, Elena was back, armed with coffee and questions, determined to unearth the story behind the gardener who seemed more woven into the land than any deed could claim. Days blurred into a rhythm Elena hadn't known she craved. Mornings started with her arriving at dawn, clipboard in hand, only to abandon it for gloves and trowels as Reese taught her the language of the earth. Feel the soil first, Reese instructed, her fingers guiding Elena's to the cool, loamy bed. It tells you what it needs. Elena, who hadn't gotten her hands dirty since childhood mud pies, felt a thrill in the surrender, the way Reese's touch lingered, accidental on purpose, sending sparks up her arm. The town noticed. Whispers turned to outright jabs. At the Willow Creek General Store, Mrs. Hargrove, Tommy's mother, all pursed lips and floral housecoats, eyed Elena's basket of seedlings. Slumming it with the dirt dike, are ya? Cities made you soft. Elena flushed, the slur landing like a slap, but she held her tongue, buying her seeds and fleeing to the estate where Reese waited, oblivious to the venom. One evening, as thunderheads gathered over the green mountains, Reese found Elena on the pond's edge, skipping stones with furious precision. "Rough day?" Reese asked, settling beside her, their knees brushing. Elena hesitated, then spilled it. The whispers, the stares, the way the town seemed to close ranks against anything that didn't fit their narrow mold. "They think I'm, you know, one of those city types corrupting their quiet life." She laughed bitterly, but her eyes glistened. Reese's jaw tightened, a storm of her own brewing. They're scared. Of different. Of love that don't look like theirs. She picked up a flat stone, skipping it across the water, 3 perfect arcs. "I know that fear. Lived it." The rain broke then, fat drops drumming the leaves as they dashed for the manor's old gazebo. Soaked through, laughing breathlessly, they collapsed onto the wooden bench. Elena's sundress clung translucent, and Reese's shirt molded to the curve of her shoulders. The air hummed, charged. "Tell me about her," Elena whispered, emboldened by the downpour. "The one who broke you." Reese's eyes darkened, rain tracing paths down her cheek like tears.
"Sarah.
Back in Boston. Artist, wild spirit. Said I was too rooted, too safe. Left me for someone flashier." She swallowed hard. Turns out, safe's just code for invisible. Elena reached out, thumb brushing Reese's jaw, wiping away the rain. Or was it more? "You're not invisible. Not to me." The words hung, heavy with promise. Their lips met in the storm's roar, tentative at first, then hungry. A kiss tasting of earth and desperation, of 2 women who'd spent too long hiding from their own hearts. Word spread like wildfire through Willow Creek. Tommy and his crew caught sight of them one afternoon, Reese and Elena sharing a stolen moment by the rose arbor, hands intertwined, heads bent close. Holy hell, the gardeners turning the newbie. Tommy guffawed at the bar that night, the room erupting in crude laughs. Bet that estate's next on her conquest list. Plans brewed in the dim light of the Rusty Nail Tavern, petitions to the county, calls to the realtor pressuring the real owner to sell before undesirables ruined it. They didn't know Reese held the power to end them all with a signature. Elena felt the shift, the chill in shopkeepers' greetings, the way cars slowed as she drove the winding roads. But in Reese's arms, under starlit skies on wildflower blankets, it melted away. Nights turned intimate, Elena tracing the scars on Reese's knuckles from thorny battles, Reese braiding Elena's hair with wild grasses, their bodies moving in sync like seasons turning. "Stay," Reese murmured one dawn, her voice cracking as Elena packed for a site visit. "This place.
Us.
It's real." "I want to," Elena confessed, heart pounding. "But my life's back there. Deadlines, deals." Yet as she drove away, the estate's silhouette in her rear view, doubt gnawed. What if this was the route she'd been searching for? The petition hit like a sucker punch. Reese found it tacked to the manor's door one crisp October morning. "Save our heritage. Sell the Blackwell estate now." Signatures from half the town, railing against moral decay and outsider influences. Her hand shook as she tore it down, fury rising like bile. Elena arrived hours later, face pale. "They're coming for you, for us. The realtor's pushing hard. Says the owner's weak, won't fight." Reese's laugh was hollow, edged with something dangerous. "Weak." She led Elena inside, to the study where dust-sheeted furniture loomed like forgotten promises. From a locked drawer, she pulled the deed, yellowed paper, her name etched in bold ink. Reese Blackwell, sole heir. "They think I'm just the help. Hired muscle for the flowers." Elena's eyes widened, pieces clicking. "Your family. This was yours all along." Reese nodded, the weight of it crashing down. "Grandmother left it to me. Said I had the greenest soul. I hid it, didn't want the eyes, the expectations. Just wanted to grow things in peace." Tears welled, hot and unbidden. "But they took that. Mocked me for who I am, who I love." The confrontation brewed like a nor'easter. Tommy's crew gathered at the estate gates that Saturday, picket signs bobbing. "Keep Willow Creek pure." Elena stood beside Reese, her city polish cracking under the strain. But Reese stepped forward, deed in hand, voice steady as Vermont granite. "You call me freak? Dyke? Outsider?" The words echoed, silencing the jeers. "This land's been in my blood since before your granddaddies plowed these fields. I own every inch. The meadows, the manor, the air you breathe right now." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Tommy's face drained of color, his sign drooping like wilted kale. Mrs. Hargrove sputtered, "But you're just the gardener." "Damn right I am." Reese shot back, fire in her eyes. "And the owner. And the woman who loves without apology." She turned to Elena, pulling her close, their kiss defiant under the gray skies, a seal on vows unspoken. The town fractured in the aftermath. Some slunk away, shamefaced. Others lingered, murmuring apologies over fences. Reese didn't burn the petition. She framed it in the manor's foyer, a trophy of battles won. With Elena by her side, they transformed the estate not into a sterile retreat, but a haven, gardens open to all, workshops for artists like Sarah never was, retreats for women like them, quiet gardeners of their own lives, roots intertwining against the storms. Winter blanketed Willow Creek in snow, but the estate glowed with lanterns and laughter. On New Year's Eve, under a canopy of fairy lights strung through the arbor, Reese knelt again, not in soil, but on one knee, a simple band of twisted vines and silver in her palm. "Grow with me, Elena. Here. Forever." Tears froze on Elena's lashes as she whispered yes, their embrace melting the frost. In that moment, the world narrowed to two hearts beating in rhythm, proving that the quietest loves, the ones mocked and buried, often bloom the strongest, unyielding, eternal, a testament to the wild beauty of simply being. Word count for Part 1. Approximately 1,000. The first snowflakes of the season dusted the estate like powdered sugar on a fresh-baked pie, but inside the manor, the air hummed with the warmth of possibility. Reese and Elena had spent the week fortifying their sanctuary, reinforcing the gazebo's roof against the nor'easters, planting evergreens that whispered promises of endurance. Elena, who once measured success in billable hours, now tallied it in the curve of Reese's smile at dawn, the way her laughter echoed through the halls like wind chimes. Yet shadows lingered. The town's fracture hadn't healed clean. Grudges festered like untreated wounds. Tommy Hargrove, pride smarting from the gate standoff, nursed his beer at the Rusty Nail, plotting with a sleazy developer from Burlington who'd caught wind of the estate's drama. "That dyke thinks she's untouchable," Tommy slurred one night, slamming his fist on the scarred oak bar. "But leverage? We got leverage. Her old lady back in the city, Sarah, right? Heard she's got dirt. Bet we can stir it up." Word traveled fast in Willow Creek, a spiderweb of gossip spun from diner booths and church basements. By mid-January, anonymous letters arrived at the manor, yellowed envelopes stuffed with photocopied tabloid clippings from Boston, headlines screaming, "Heiress heartbreak. Artist flees stable life for passion. Crude cartoons sketched Reese as a wilted flower, Elena as the thorn. Reese burned them in the hearth, flames devouring the poison, but Elena saw the toll. The way Reese's hands trembled over her pruning shears, the nightmares that pulled her from sleep with cries of abandonment. "We fight this together," Elena vowed one frigid morning as they shoveled the drive, breath clouding in the icy air. She pulled Reese into the barn, away from prying eyes across the road, and kissed her fiercely, lips cold, hearts ablaze. "You're not losing me to ghosts." Reese melted into her, the scent of hay and pine oil grounding her. "Promise." It was half joke, half prayer, born from scars Sarah had carved deep. "Cross my city heart." Elena grinned, but doubt flickered. Her firm was circling, emails piling up with veiled ultimatums. Handle the asset or lose the account. Staying meant torching her career. Leaving meant shattering Reese. The pull tore at her, a riptide between roots and wings. February brought a thaw, muddy roads slick as betrayal. The developer, slick-haired Victor Lang, with a suit that screamed boardrooms, arrived unannounced, Tommy trailing like a mangy dog. "Miss Blackwell." Victor purred from his gleaming SUV, extending a manicured hand Reese ignored. "Heard about your situation. Town's in uproar. I'm offering a fair price, double market value. Walk away clean, no more headaches." Reese crossed her arms, mud-caked boots planted firm. "This isn't for sale. Not to you, not to anyone chasing headlines." Victor's smile thinned. "Pity. Folks talk. Your personal life. It's complicating things. Investors shy from scandal." His eyes flicked to Elena, emerging from the house with coffee mugs, protective fire in her stance. "And your partner?" "Word is she's got ties back east. Leverage, you know?" Elena's mug shattered on the gravel, ceramic shards scattering like her resolve. "Get off her land," she snarled, stepping between them, her voice a whipcrack honed in high-stakes meetings. Tommy smirked, emboldened. "Or what? Call the cops on us for trespassing? We got rights." Reese's laugh cut through, low and lethal. "Rights? You signed away yours when you mocked me. Now leave, before I press charges for harassment." She held up her phone, recording app glowing. Victor blanched, retreating with muttered threats of lawsuits. That night, as sleet lashed the windows, Elena paced the study. "They're not stopping. Sarah, God, if they drag her into this." She sank into the leather armchair, head in hands. Reese knelt before her, mirroring that first garden moment, hands on Elena's knees. "Then we face it. All of it." Reese's voice was an anchor. "I hid once. Won't again. But Elena, if this pulls you under."
"No."
Elena cupped Reese's face, thumbs tracing jawline. "I'm all in. But we need a plan. Make this place bulletproof." They schemed by firelight, community events to win hearts, legal shields from a Burlington attorney, partnerships with local farms to weave the estate into Willow Creek's fabric. Elena's fingers flew over her laptop, drafting proposals that blended her ad savvy with Reese's earthy wisdom, eco-tours led by Reese herself, art residencies in the Manor's attics. For the first time, Elena glimpsed a future untethered from skyscrapers, mornings in bed with Reese's arms around her, afternoons knee-deep in soil, evenings tangled in sheets that smelled of lavender and rain. Spring teased early, crocuses pushing through frost-kissed earth like defiant hopes. The first event, a garden workshop, drew wary locals, Mrs. Hargrove hovering at the edges, her son absent. Reese demonstrated companion planting, her voice steady, Elena at her side handing out seedlings. "Growth ain't solitary," Reese said, eyes locking with Elena's. "What we nurture together withstands the storms." A young woman, barely 20, approached after, timid, with a rainbow pin on her jacket. I see you too. Makes me brave." Her words cracked something in Reese, a dam of isolation bursting. By workshop's end, laughter mingled with the birdsong, barriers thawing like snowbanks. But Victor wasn't done. Mid-April, as dogwoods bloomed pink against the hills, he struck low, a smear campaign in the county paper, anonymous op-eds decrying the depraved duo defiling heritage. Protests swelled at the gates, signs now laced with slurs that twisted Elena's gut. "Go back to your Sin City," one read, wielded by a face she'd once shared pie with. Reese barricaded the drive with sawhorses, but the hate seeped through. Rocks through windows, slashed tires on Elena's Jeep. One night, as they boarded up glass, Reese broke. "This is my fault. Dragging you into my mess." Elena pulled her close, shards crunching underfoot. "Your mess is our strength." Their kiss was salt-tinged, desperate, bodies pressing against the wall in a frenzy of need, fingers fumbling buttons, breaths ragged. In the dim lantern light, they reclaimed power, skin on skin, a rebellion against the dark. Dawn brought allies. The young woman from the workshop, rallying a youth group. Old Mr. Ellis, a widower who'd lost a son to intolerance years back, offering his tractor for defenses. Willow Creek teetered, factions clashing in town halls where voices rose like thunder. Then Sarah arrived, like a ghost exhumed. Victor's doing, no doubt. She'd shown up at the realtor's, lured by whispers of old flames in trouble. Tall, ethereal with paint-streaked jeans and a mane of curls, she knocked on the manor door one drizzly afternoon. Reese answered, world tilting. "Reese," Sarah breathed, eyes wide. "I saw the articles. Had to come." Elena watched from the kitchen, heart of vice. Sarah's presence stirred ghosts, the wild nights in Boston lofts, the way she'd made Reese feel alive, then invisible. "We need to talk," Sarah pressed, stepping inside uninvited. "About us." "What if?"
"No."
Reese's voice was steel. "Us was then. This," she gestured to Elena, who stood rigid, arms crossed. "This is now. Real." Sarah's laugh was brittle. "Real? Hiding in Hicksville, fighting pitchforks? You deserve Paris, Reese. Not this." Elena stepped forward, voice calm as a blade. "She deserves peace. And she's got it. With me." The air crackled, three women in a tableau of past and present. Sarah lingered 2 days, haunting the edges, helping in the gardens with forced cheer, her touches on Reese's arm lingering too long. Elena buried jealousy in work, but it festered, whispers of doubt. Was she just the rebound? The safe harbor? The breaking point came at a town council meeting, Victor's cronies packed in like wolves. Reese took the mic, Elena at her side, Sarah in the back row, uninvited witness. "You've mocked me, threatened us, all 'cause we love different." Reese's words filled the hall, raw and resonant. "But this estate? It's opening to everyone, queer kids needing safe space, artists like Sarah here who see beauty in broken things." She nodded to her ex, a gracious severing. "Join us, or step aside. Willow Creek's bigger than your fear." Cheers erupted, tentative at first, then roaring. Victor slunk out, Tommy's head bowed. Sarah approached after, eyes misty. "You were right to let me go. She's your bloom." A hug, brief and final, and she was gone, back to canvases and city lights. Summer unfurled in triumph, the estate alive with visitors, laughter echoing where silence once reigned. Reese and Elena married in the rose garden, barefoot under an arch of intertwined vines, vows exchanged like seeds sown deep. "In you, I found my wild," Reese murmured, ring sliding onto Elena's finger. As petals rained down, the town watched, not with mockery, but wonder. Roots had spread, turning scorn to soil fertile for change. The wedding's afterglow lingered like honey on the tongue, but Willow Creek summers simmered with undercurrents, heat waves that baked the earth and tempers alike. Reese and Elena dove into the estate's renaissance with fervor, converting the old stables into artist cabins, where queer creators from across New England gathered, their murals splashing color on weathered walls. Elena's firm? She'd quit via email the week before the ceremony, trading corner offices for a desk in the sunroom, freelancing pitches that funneled grants into the haven they'd built. Mornings were sacred, Reese rising with the larks to tend the dawn patrols, Elena joining later with coffee laced with wild mint from the herb beds. They'd linger on the veranda, feet tangled under the table, watching mist lift from the meadows. Think they'll ever fully forgive? Elena asked one July dawn, her head on Reese's shoulder, the air thick with honeysuckle. Reese traced patterns on Elena's arm, lazy figure eights. Forgiveness ain't the goal. Acceptance? Maybe. But we're done begging. Her voice held the quiet steel that had won the town, but vulnerability threaded it, remnants of Sarah's shadow, Victor's venom. Trouble brewed anew in August, when a wildfire sparked in the dry hills 20 miles north, smoke chokingly the valley. Evacuations rippled through Willow Creek, families streaming to the high school gym with what they could carry. The estate, with its ponds and wide fields, became an impromptu refuge, Reese directing water lines from the well, Elena organizing cots in the manor's grand hall. For 3 sweltering days, they sheltered 30 souls, Tommy Hargrove and his ailing mother among them. Karma's irony wasn't lost on Reese as she handed Mrs. Hargrove a blanket, the woman's eyes downcast. Didn't expect. Kindness, she muttered, voice cracking. Kindness don't pick sides, Reese replied. No malice, just truth. Elena watched from the doorway, pride swelling. Her wife, the quiet gardener who'd tamed flames fiercer than any blaze. Tommy cornered her later, by the pond where kids skip stones. Look, Reese. I was wrong. Bad. About you, her, everything. Sweat beaded his brow. Not just from the heat. Ma's sick. Cancer. This place. It's saving us. Reese nodded, the old ache easing a fraction. Stay as long as you need. No strings. It wasn't absolution but a bridge, tentative, green as new shoots. The fire passed, leaving scars on the land but mending some in hearts. Victor Lang, sensing defeat, folded his tents, selling his Burlington firm to a competitor who whispered overtures of partnership. Eco Developments, Ms. Blackwell. Your vision, our capital. Reese and Elena waited over late-night picnics, fireflies dancing like errant stars. Could grow us bigger, Elena mused, popping a strawberry between Reese's lips. Reach more folks like that kid from the workshop. Reese chewed thoughtfully, juice staining her chin. Or drown us in suits and spreadsheets. She pulled Elena down onto the blanket, bodies aligning in the grass's cradle. I like our scale. Intimate. Like this. Her hands roamed, eliciting gasps that scattered the fireflies, their lovemaking a symphony of sighs and summer thunder. Fall painted the estate in riotous hues, oranges and scarlets bleeding across the hills like spilled wine. Harvest festivals drew crowds, hayrides through the orchards, cider presses groaning under apple weight, queer story circles under lantern-lit oaks. Elena emceed one night, her voice carrying tales of hidden loves, from Stonewall to Willow Creek, while Reese stoked the bonfire, flames mirroring the spark in her eyes as she watched her wife command the circle. But autumn winds carried omens. Elena's ex-husband, Marcus, a Wall Street shark with a vindictive streak, surfaced via certified letter. Their divorce had been amicable on paper, but he'd clawed for assets, resenting her midlife crisis, pivot to Vermont. Now, hearing of her lavish setup, he sued for half the estate's appreciation, claiming community property from their shared investments pre-split. The lawyer's office in Montpelier felt like a tomb, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. It's a long shot, the attorney said, spectacles perched on his nose. But discovery means airing your marriage. intimacies, finances. And, with the town's history. He trailed off, implying the smears Victor might fan anew. Elena drove home in silence, knuckles white on the wheel. Reese waited on the porch, sensing the storm. Talk. Over stew simmered with estate-grown carrots, Elena unloaded. Marcus's greed, the threat to their haven. He'll paint me as flighty, you as the seductress. Ruin everything. Reese's spoon clattered. Let him try. We've faced worse. But sleep evaded them that night, bodies close but minds adrift. Elena dreamed of courtrooms, judges' gavels echoing like gunshots, Reese of losing the land that had saved her soul. Winter's grip tightened early, snowdrifts barricading the drive like Marcus's walls. Depositions loomed, Marcus gloating over video link, his lawyer dredging Elena's emails, her obsession with Reese. You abandoned our life for this. Fantasy, he sneered, voice tinny through speakers. Elena fired back, composure cracking. Fantasy? This is freedom. Love you never understood. But the toll mounted, migraines, sleepless nights, the estate's joy dimming under legal clouds. Reese rallied them with action, a fundraiser gala in the manor, black tie amid chandeliers dusted for the occasion. Locals mingled with out-of-towners, Mr. Ellis toasting with cider, the young queer activist leading a drag auction. Elena, in a gown of emerald silk that hugged her curves, danced with Reese under crystal light, waltzing to fiddles and folk guitars. To us, Reese whispered, spin-dipping her wife, the room a blur of approval. Funds poured in for legal fees, but more, testimonials, affidavits from townsfolk attesting to the estate's heart. Mrs. Hargrove even penned one, frail hand shaking. They gave when we took. Deserve their peace. Marcus's case crumbled in spring court, judge dismissing it as frivolous harassment, slapping him with costs. Elena wept in the parking lot, Reese holding her as petals swirled from budding cherries. It's over. Not quite, Reese murmured, kissing her temple. Now we live. Summer returned, fuller. Elena pregnant, not by miracle, but choice, via a donor and IVF funded by gala leftovers. They announced at solstice, under the rose arbor where vows were spoken, hands on Elena's still flat belly. Willow Creek celebrated, baby showers with quilts stitched by unlikely hands, Tommy carving a cradle from estate oak. As leaves turned once more, Reese knelt in the garden, planting bulbs for springs unborn. Elena joined her, back aching with promise. Our legacy, she said, hand on the swell. Reese smiled, earth under nails. Roots and wings. For her. In the quiet, love's harvest bloomed eternal. The estate thrummed with new life that summer, Elena's pregnancy a quiet revolution blooming beneath her skin. Mornings brought nausea chased by ginger tea from the herb beds, but Reese was there, steady hands on her back, whispers of easy now like incantations. Willow Creek, once a thorn bush of judgment, now wove garlands of support, Mrs. Hargrove dropping off knitted booties dyed harvest gold, the diner slinging free milkshakes for the mama-to-be. Yet beneath the idol, fissures ran deep. Elena's body, once a vessel of boardroom command, now felt foreign, swells and aches that mocked her control. What if I'm not enough? She confessed one twilight, as they rocked on the veranda swing, fireflies pulsing like heartbeats. Mother, partner, all at once. Reese pulled her closer, lips brushing temple. You're everything. Already. Her fingers splayed over the gentle curve, feeling the flutter within, a secret shared, fierce as any storm they'd weathered. Labor came early, in September's amber haze, contractions ripping through Elena like lightning. Reese drove white-knuckled to the Burlington hospital, cursing the winding roads, while Elena gripped the dash, breaths ragged. Stay with me, she gasped, sweat beading brow. Always, Reese vowed, hand clasped tight. Hours blurred in sterile lights and beeps, doctors in scrubs, Elena's cries echoing halls. Rhys held vigil, whispering tales of the estate's wildflowers, resilient, pushing through stone, until, at dawn's first blush, their daughter arrived, a squall of fury and wonder, 7 pounds of pink perfection with Elena's green eyes and Rhys's stubborn chin. They named her Willow, after the creek that had tested them, the tree that bent but never broke. Back at the estate, cradled in quilts amid blooming asters, Willow nursed at Elena's breast, tiny fists kneading. Rhys watched, heart so full it ached, tracing the miracle with reverent fingers. "Our bloom," she murmured, tears salting the moment. News rippled through town like a gentle current. Visitors streamed. The young activist with a hand-knitted bear, Mr. Ellis recounting grandfather tales by the crib. Even Tommy, awkward with a stuffed deer, mumbled, "She's tough, like her mom's." Redemption's path was crooked, but they walked it. Autumn deepened, leaves carpeting paths in crimson carpets. With Willow bundled against her chest, Rhys resumed garden rounds, Elena at her side sketching logos for an expanded retreat, now with family programs, safe spaces for parents like them. But shadows stirred. Victor Lang, licking wounds from his failed bid, resurfaced through proxies. A glossy brochure landed in their mailbox. Blackwell Estates, luxury queer haven? Invest now. Stolen photos, twisted pitches, their vision co-opted, commodified. Rage boiled in Rhys's veins as she paced the study. That snake, twisting our fight into his profit. Elena, rocking Willow, eyes steel. We beat him before. We'll sue. But exhaustion weighted her, sleepless nights from cries, hormones ebbing like tides. Doubt crept. Had they invited the wolves by opening doors? The countersuit launched in October, a flurry of filings that tangled their days in legalese. Mediations dragged. Victor's lawyer, a weasel in pinstripes, sneering over conference lines. Public figures now, ladies. Can't cry scandal. Paparazzi lurked at gates, flashes popping like gunfire, headlines in queer mags from Provincetown to Portland. Vermont lesbians versus the machine. Willow's first smile came amid the chaos, a gummy dawn grin that pierced the gloom. Rhys captured it on film, pinning prints to the fridge like talismans. Nights, when Elena wept from overload, Rhys sang lullabies learned from grandmother, old folk tunes of lovers lost and found, until peace settled. Winter solstice brought trial by blizzard, snow locking them in, power flickering. Victor's team pushed for settlement, dangling millions. Think of the child, his proxy urged over crackling phone. Stability over strife. Rhys slammed the receiver, snow howling outside. Stability? This is our fight, for her future, free of vultures. Elena nodded, Willow asleep between them. All in. That night, burrowed under quilts, they made love slow and sacred. Bodies remembering, souls reaffirming. Come morning, they rejected the offer, doubling down with community backing. Petitions from artists housed, letters from families healed. Spring's verdict, judge ruling in their favor, injunctions barring Victor's theft. He vanished to Florida schemes, tail between legs. The estate exhaled, blooming riotous. Willow's first steps in the meadows, chubby legs tumbling through buttercups. But growth invited growing pains. As Willow turned one, Elena chafed at domesticity's apron strings, inklings of wanderlust, dreams of city collaborations. Just a weekend, she proposed, eyes on Rhys. Networking in Boston. For us, for the retreat's reach. Rhys's smile masked the pang. Go. Fly. But as Elena's jeep vanished down the drive, emptiness echoed. Sarah's ghost flickered, abandonment's echo, and Rhys poured it into soil, planting a labyrinth of hedges, twists mirroring her heart. Elena's return brought gifts, books on queer history for Willow, contracts for expansions. But confession followed. I missed you. Both of you. This is home. They reconciled in the new maze, laughter echoing walls, kisses amid thorns, a reminder that love's paths looped back. Summer festivals swelled, Willow toddling amid revelers. Reese, ever the gardener, watched her daughter uproot daisies, grinning. Like her mama, Elena teased, stealing a kiss. Yet fate tested anew. A drought scorched the valleys, wells running dry. Reese rationed water, rationing hope as crops withered. Town meetings turned tense, fingers pointing at the outsiders hoarding resources. We share, Reese declared, opening pumps to neighbors. Elena rallied aid, grants, volunteers digging new lines. Through blistering days, they toiled side by side, Willow shaded in a sling, babbling encouragement. Rains broke in August, torrents quenching thirst. Harvests rebounded, feasts overflowing. Under harvest moon, Reese and Elena danced with Willow between, a trio twirling in firelight. Forever's a garden, Reese whispered. Weeds and all. Elena laughed, spinning. And we're the roots. Willow's second summer unfolded like a well-tended vine, climbing, curling, claiming space with toddler tenacity. The estate had evolved into a beacon, cabins booked solid with families seeking solace, workshops buzzing with brushes and clay. Reese orchestrated it all with her quiet command, while Elena's freelance empire grew, her pitches landing features in glossy mags, Vermont's lesbian legacy. Love, land, and liberation. Pride swelled in Willow Creek, rainbows fluttering from porches once barren of color. But pride preceded falls, and autumn brought one crashing down. During the annual harvest fair, booths groaning with pies and pumpkins, a stranger approached Reese at the cider press, a woman in her 40s, sharp-suited, clipboard clutched like a shield. Ms. Blackwell? I'm Lydia from Child Services. Anonymous tip, concerns about the child's environment. Reese's press handle froze mid-turn, cider foaming over. Environment? This is her world. Safe, loved. Lydia's smile was clinical. Routine check. Reports of instability. Protests, media. We verify. Elena, corralling Willow from a hay bale, overheard, blood draining. Tip? From who, Victor? Whispers slithered. His parting shot, poison pens alleging neglect in the den of sin. The investigation dragged through November's chill, home visits with Willow cooing obliviously, interviews where Reese's past, Sarah's abandonment, the hiding, resurfaced like unearthed fossils. Elena paced nights. They're hunting us. For existing. Reese held her, voice anchor deep. They won't take her. We're unbreakable. Social workers came and went, notebooks filling with observations. Willow's laughter in the gardens, meals shared with village aunts like the young activist. Lydia's final report, delivered over cocoa in the kitchen, rang clear. Thriving. Dismissed. Relief crashed like waves, but scars lingered, trust frayed, vigilance sharpened. They fortified, parenting classes, legal guardians named in wills. Willow, sensing shifts, clung tighter, her mama Ree's a bomb. Winter holidays glittered with resilience, solstice feasts where queer elders shared migration tales, Willow wide-eyed by the tree strung with heirloom ornaments. Reese carved a wooden fox for the top, cunning survivor like them. But spring unearthed deeper roots. Clearing the attic for guest overflow, Reese found letters, grandmother's bundle, tied with faded ribbon. Yellowed pages chronicled a hidden life. Her gran, a flapper-era beauty loving women in speakeasies, fleeing scandal to claim the estate in the 30s. I garden to hide, one read, but love's the truest bloom. Don't bury yours, child. Tears blurred ink as Reese read aloud to Elena, Willow asleep between. She knew, passed it down the strength. Elena squeezed her hand. We honor it. By living loud. Emboldened, they launched Roots Revealed, tours of the manor's queer history, Grand's photos framed in halls. Crowds swelled. School groups, historians, a documentary crew from PBS. Willow toddled through, pointing at portraits. Guan kiss. Summer's heat wave tested metal anew. A nor'easter's remnant flooded the low meadows, washing out bridges. Isolation gripped the estate, supplies dwindling. Reese foraged edibles, berries, wild leeks, while Elena jury-rigged solar chargers for radios. Willow, 3 now and fierce, helped, stacking sandbags, mud-caked cheeks beaming. Rescue choppers couldn't reach, but neighbors did. Tommy's truck churning mud, hauling generators. Mrs. Hargrove with soup pot steaming. Payback, Tommy grunted, hefting crates. In the deluge, barriers dissolved, hands linking across divides. Floods receded, leaving fertile silt. The estate rose renewed. New ponds for eco-farming, Willow's first boat a leaf on ripples. Elena's belly swelled again. Another miracle planned, a sibling for their wild one. Fall whispers brought Victor's Echo, a tabloid hit piece, dredging divorce dirt, painting Elena as serial heartbreaker. Hate mail surged, envelopes scrawled with slurs, one with a knife sketch that chilled Reese to bone. Police shrugged, free speech, but Reese installed cameras. Elena hired PIs. The culprit? A disgruntled ex-resident, Victor's pawn, exposed in weeks. Arrests followed, apologies proffered. Through it, their bond tempered. Date nights in the woods, Willow with sitters, rediscovering hunger. Bodies urgent under stars, reaffirming claims. Winter birthed the second child, a boy, River, with Reese's hazel gaze. Hospital holds turned communal, town baking casseroles, toasts to the Blackwell brood. Spring's renewal mirrored theirs, gardens exploding, Willow teaching River to crawl in grass. Reese, scarred hands cradling son, reflected on the arc, from mocked loner to matriarch. Yet summer storms loomed. A developer collective, Victor's alumni, eyeing expansion. Offers flooded, billions for inclusive resorts. Elena and Reese debated bonfires. Sell shares? Dilute the soul? No, Reese decided, embers glowing. We steward. For them. Gesturing to babes asleep in laps. Allies rallied. Petitions, protests. The collective retreated, chastened. Harvest moon, family picnicked meadows. Willow chasing fireflies, River gurgling. Our empire, Elena said, head on Reese's lap. Reese kissed her crown. Of love. River's infancy wove the estate tighter into family lore, his cries a new rhythm syncing with Willow's giggles, the creak of floorboards under midnight feedings. Reese adapted like the land itself. Baby carriers slung over tool belts, lullabies hummed while weeding. Elena, balancing freelance deadlines with diaper dashes, found poetry in the pandemonium. Our little revolution, she quipped, passing River for burps. Willow Creek's transformation deepened. Annual pride parades snaking from the rusty nail to the estate gates, floats bedecked in floral crowns. Tommy, sober 6 months, captained the hay wagon, his sorry banner a quiet amends. Mrs. Hargrove, cancer in remission, baked rainbow cookies for bake sales, her bless you girls a hard-won grace. But summers simmered secrets. During a heat dome that cracked the earth, Elena uncovered an email chain in her inbox, forwarded from the PI. Victor's network scheming sabotage. Not land grabs now, but personal. Hacking attempts on the retreat site, doxing threats to artists and residents. They're ghosts. Elena fumed, laptop slamming shut as River fussed in his bouncer. Won't let die. Reese, wiping Willow's popsicle-smeared face, eyes darkened. Then we exercise. Go public. Our story, unfiltered. The podcast launched in July. Roots and Rebels, Elena's voice narrating their odyssey, from mockery to motherhood. Reese interjecting with gravelly anecdotes, kids' coos underscoring. Episodes went viral. Queer pod sharing, straight subscribing, Victor's name dropped like an indictment. Backlash bit. Trolls flooding comments, a brick through the studio window, glass shattering Willow's nap. Police beefed patrols, but fear coiled. Reese sleeping shotgun by cribs, Elena's smiles strained. Climax crested at pride. As floats rolled, a heckler, hired muscle, later confessed, lunged from shadows, signs swinging like a scythe. Reese shoved Willow behind, tackling him to gravel, fists flying till Elena pulled her off, sirens wailing. Bruises bloomed purple on Reese's ribs, but victory tasted sweeter. The man sang to cops, fingering Victor's wallet. Federal charges stuck. Extortion, stalking, sending him to white-collar purgatory. Falls bombs soothed. Podcast accolades, book deals knocking. Elena penned, Gardens of Us, Reese illustrating with sketches of tangled hands, soil-kissed lovers. Winter whispered worries anew. Willow, for and fierce, came home from preschool teary. Teacher said 2 mommies ain't normal. Heartbreak lanced Reese, Elena's arms enveloping all 3. They marched to school, principal stammering apologies. Workshops followed, families like ours, Reese reading Gran's letters to wide eyes. Spring sowed seeds of legacy, Willow planting her first row, sunflowers tall as dreams. River, teething terror, gummed petals under watchful eyes. Summer solstice brought a pilgrimage, queer elders from across states sharing circles under oaks. One night, a trans woman, silver-haired, gripped Reese's hand. You gave me ground to stand on. First time. Tears shared, stories spun till stars wheeled. But autumn unearthed unease. Elena's manuscript leaked, pre-pub excerpts twisted in rags. Lesbian tycoons exploit rural rubes. Reese scanned headlines, gut churning. Lies. Again. Elena, chin lifted. Fuel. We tour. Reclaim the narrative. Book launch in Boston. Crowds thronging. Sarah in the front row. Applause thundering. Post-reading, she hugged Elena. Proud of you both. Fixed what I broke. Back home, sales soared. Funding expansions. A nursery for little ones. Willow's domain of blocks and books. Winter's idol shattered when illness struck. Reese, flu morphing to pneumonia, lungs filling like flooded fields. Hospital haze. For drips, monitors beeping, Elena vigilant, kids shuttled to allies. Fever dreams gripped Reese. Sarah's goodbye, town's jeers, Gran's letters blurring. Don't leave us, Elena begged, lips on fevered brow. Reese rallied, discharged to estate beds, broths and bombs. Willow drew get-well cards, crayon warriors. River babbled mama strong. Spring's thaw mirrored recovery. Reese in gardens light, Elena's arm linked. Scared me, she admitted, shears pausing. Reese kissed knuckles. Roots hold. Always. Summer festivals boomed, family quartet complete. Willow dancing maypoles, river toddling dust. Yet fate flung one final gauntlet, a land dispute, old claim from Victor's kin, contesting borders. Lawyers battled, surveys drawn. Court loomed, stress etching lines. Climax in hearing, Reese testifying, voice unwavering. This land's witness to our lives. Take it, lose your souls. Judge ruled for them, gavel sealing. Harvest moon, they danced meadows, kids whirling. Survived, Elena breathed. Reese grinned, thrived. The estate's 8th summer since Reese's revelation dawned with unseasonal rains, steady drizzles that turned paths to mirrors, reflecting a family forged in flood and fire. Willow, now 6, navigated it like a sprite, splashing puddles and rubber boots, quizzing Reese on rain-loving ferns. River, 3 and boundless, chased her wake, his why, A constant chorus, Elena answered with patient sketches in mud. Their haven pulsed with purpose. Roots and Rebels evolved to TV docuseries, crews capturing dawn harvests, elder interviews. Book tours pulled Elena eastward quarterly, Reese holding fort with kids and crew, video calls ending in "Miss Your Wild Heart" whispers. Willow Creek wore its colors boldly now, pride flags year-round, school curriculums weaving queer histories. Tommy managed the feed store, mentoring at-risk youth. Mrs. Hargrove's cookies graced every event, her family a reclaimed word. But midsummer storms brewed internal. Willow's school play, cast as the princess, naturally sparked a rift, director suggesting tone down the two-mom thing in lines. Reese stormed the rehearsal, Elena mediating, but hurt festered. Home that night, Willow sobbed. "Am I wrong?" "No, Sprout," Reese consoled, rocking her. "World's catching up. We're ahead." Elena channeled fury into advocacy. PDA overhauls, sensitivity trainings. Victory came slow, director ousted, play rewritten inclusive. Fall's equinox brought external thunder. A conglomerate, Victor's shadow puppets, proposing partnership, buyout disguised as collaboration. Boardrooms beckoned, suits slick with false smiles. "We listen," Elena urged over kitchen table maps, kids coloring borders. "Leverage their capital. Keep control." Reese balked, fork stabbing pie. Snakes in the garden. Poison the soil. Debates stretched moons. Pros, expansions for more families. Cons, souls sold. Willow piped, crayon in fist. "Keep our home, mama." Decision crystallized at harvest. Reject, counter with co-op model. Locals invested, queer-led. Conglomerate recoiled, but ripples spread. National press hailing, Blackwell model. Grants flowing like cider. Winter wrapped them cozy. Holiday lights, twinkling manners, kids building snow forts with town tots. Reese taught carols Grand's way, harmonies of hidden loves. Spring unearthed joy. Elena's third pregnancy, surprise amid morning sickness. "Trifecta," she joked, hand on swell. Reese's eyes shone, terror and thrill. Ultrasounds revealed twins, girls kicking fierce. Names brainstormed, Meadow and Brook, echoes of land. Summer's swell tested. Elena's ankles ballooned, back a battlefield. Reese pampered, foot soaks in pond water, massages under willows. Willow doctored, with pretend stethoscopes, River sang garbled lullabies. Pride parade peaked, family on float, Willow waving rainbow scepter, River tossing petals. Cheers drowned old echoes. But labor lurked early, July heat wave, contractions at a picnic. Dash to hospital, Reese driving, Elena panting, kids with Tommy's wife. Twins arrived in chaos. Meadow first, indignant wail. Brook second, serene sigh. Tiny, tenacious, mirrors of mothers. Homecoming, manor bursting, bassinets in sunroom. Town showered gifts, quilt circles, organic onesies. Fall adapted anew. Sleep in shifts, love in stolen glances. Willow mothered fiercely, River big bro proud. Winter's hush allowed healing, snow blanketing, family nested. Reese reflected journals, from solitary digs to symphony of souls. Spring's bloom. Twins' first smiles, Willow's school project, my mom's magic garden. Summer trials tempered, a virus-swept valley, closing retreats. Reese pivoted, virtual workshops, care packages shipped. Isolation bonded, game nights by fire, stories spun of grand speakeasies, Sarah's lessons learned. Virus waned, reopenings hailed heroes. Autumn harvest. Co-op thrived, shares empowering neighbors. Winter solstice. Full circle, Reese proposing renewal vows, rings exchanged amid kids' giggles. Spring forward. family of 6, estate empire of empathy. Yet one shadow. Elders passing Mr. Ellis, peacefully, leaving letters. You mended what I couldn't. Funeral united town, toasts to bridges built. Summer solstice. Picnic under oaks, generations gathered. Reese, holding brook, eyed meadow in Elena's arms, willow and river chasing horizons. Our forever, Elena murmured. Reese nodded, planted deep. A decade danced by on the estate's timeless clock, rains and revelries blurring into legacy. Willow, 16, bloomed bold. Student council firebrand, leading queer alliance, her short-cropped hair a nod to Reese's youth. River, 13, tinkered inventions, solar gadgets for the gardens, his quiet ingenuity Elena's echo. Twins Meadow and Brook, 10 and tempestuous, mirrored duality. Meadow's artistic swirls on canvases, Brook's earthy wrestles in mud. The Blackwell estate stood as monument, co-op thriving, cabins housing global guests, refugees finding roots, elders reclaiming stories. Roots and Rebels span seasons, Elena's books bestsellers, Reese's illustrations gracing covers worldwide. Willow Creek? Transformed tapestry, pride a month-long fiesta, schools with Blackwell scholarships for out kids. Tommy's Feed Store sponsored floats, Mrs. Hargrove, great-grandkids in tow, judged pie contests. Yet time's tide tugged. Reese, 44, felt it in joints, aches from old tackles, lungs whispering of that pneumonia winter. Elena, 46, chased deadlines with reading glasses, silver threading auburn. Summer of reckoning. Wildfire redux, fiercer, flames licking hillsides. Evacuations held sirens, estate mobilized, ponds pumped, fields fire breaks. Reese directed like general, Willow hauling hoses, river rigging drones for spot fires. Blaze crested, sparing core but charring woods. Ash sifted like grief, family huddled manor, soot streaked. Rebuild rallied all, crews from cities, locals logging anew. Willow organized fundraisers, concerts under stars, her voice rallying thousands. Falls Phoenix, replanted groves, resilient saplings Willow named Hope Row. Winter introspection, Reese penned memoir addendum, scars as soil, Elena editing by hearth, twins dramatizing chapters. Spring unearthed elder echoes, Grand's trunk, unearthed in flood runoffs, yielding photos, flapper grand arm-in-arm with lover, estate deeds annotated for the loves that last. Reese shared at family council, kids rapped. Your great-greats fought same fights, won by blooming. Summer solstice ceremony, planting Grand's roses, kids digging, laughter healing burns. Yet shadows shifted. Willow's first love, Jade, a poet from Burlington Exchange, soft-spoken storm. Home for dinners handholds tentative. Reese mentored. Love loud, but kind. Roots entwine slow. Elena warned gently. Hearts break, but mend stronger. Willow's romance flowered, then faltered, Jade's family relocating. Tears at midnight. Reese rocking, Elena baking midnight cookies. First of many, Reese soothed. Pain's fertilizer. Fall's wisdom. Willow channeled into poetry slams, verses raw as rain. Winter's gift. River's prototype. Wind turbines for a state grid, patented, powering neighbors. Spring forward. Meadow's mural on barn, family tree, branches queer and queer. Summer trials. Conglomerate redux, AI moguls eyeing sustainable sanctuaries. Negotiations tense, Elena sparring boardrooms, Reese grounding with soil-stained truths. Thanked hybrid, tech for green, veto on souls. Harvest triumph, profits plowed to scholarships, Willow first recipient, Burlington U, environmental justice. Winter's empty nest loomed, twins to camp, river to science fairs. Solstice send-off, bonfire vows renewed, kids toasting to branches spreading. Spring's bloom, empty echoing, but calls constant, willow's dorm rants, river's lab triumphs. Summer circle, grand's roses rampant, family reunion under petals. Reese and Elena, alone at last, walked meadows, hands clasped, steps synced. Empty, Elena asked. Reese grinned. Full. Of us. Fall's legacy, estate trust deeded to kids, stewards now. Winter's quiet, snow falling, lovers tangled, whispers of decades danced. Spring eternal, new sprouts pushing, grandkids' laughter on horizon. Summer's end. Under oaks, Reese knelt once more. Not proposal, but prayer. Thank you, love, for the garden we grew. Elena pulled her up, kiss eternal. Our best harvest. In Willow Creek's embrace, mocked no more, the quiet gardener's tale whispered on winds. Love's estate, owned wholly, blooming boundless.